It's live. It's raw. It's going down. Like this. I'm going around and letting everybody know that they welcome to the show. It's the latest thing you ever seen, you already know. Let me introduce you to your host of the hour. If you Mike and Mike. Yeah, it's the man hour. Got the hottest plays, all the breaking news. Every rumor, every trade, every breaking bruise. Tighten knuckle screws, yeah, it's going down. Have you saying what the fuck and never watered down? It's going down, I'll be rolling up. And if you buy it or you sell it, then you made the cut. Watch me flip it back, I can double up. I got sriracha for that ass, I'ma burn it up. Gotta check the rules and know that if you fair or foul. Ref blow the whistle, coach throw the towel. We can do this on the field or outside the line. It's the man hour though, now we going live.
And we are live, guys. Michael Buckhashi here with the Man Hour After Dark with my co-host, Brandon Combs. Brandon, what is up today, brother?
Hey, man, it's been a great day. Had the day off of work, played some Fortnite with the kids, and man. I am ready to beat down Wayne G. 90% is where he's going to be at after this tonight.
So, Combs already let the cat out of the bag. We are debating Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. Who is the greatest of, all time? But before we bring Wayne G on from Infinity Sports, you said you got to play Fortnite all day, which is total BS because us adults actually have to work 8 to 5, which is, come on, man. How do you get a Wednesday off to play Fortnite all day?
I get 1 weekday off a month. So this is my 1 weekday off a month, and hey, the kids were at home, doing school from home, and that's how I just told them, hey,
so basically, you called your kids into sick to take school. Hey guys, we're gonna play Fortnite all day, right?
Hey, look,
hopefully,
right?
School is not listening. So we already have people chiming in. LBJ all day. Facts. LeBron James is definitely better than Michael Jordan. But let's go ahead and welcome Wayne G to the show. Wayne, what is up, man? What is up?
Not too much, man. I'm glad to be on the show. It's I got a fresh new background today, so I'm happy to show it off for a couple of shows today.
All right. So, Wayne, you are from Infinity Sports. You are another all-access, ALLACCESS Sports Network podcaster here. So, tell the people a little bit about your show, where they can find you, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So we are the Infinity Sports Show. We are on our own page, the Infinity Sports page, as well as the RTF page, which has transitioned to the All Access Sports page. We refer to it on our show as the All ACCS page. You can also find us on YouTube Live, the All Access YouTube channel, and we also are re-aired the following day after our broadcast, which is Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We are Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. on the air, as well as iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and as of recently, Amazon Music. So really no reason that you shouldn't be listening to us, because you can find us pretty much anywhere you can throw a stone.
Well, there is a reasoning why we don't listen to you, because you're only the third best podcast on the show.
No, look, I listen to them now. About a month and a half ago, it was hard for me to listen to them, but I listen to them now. They look a lot better. Just you and Sully, that's for sure.
Shots fired there already? God. The show hasn't even started and already dropping dimes like that. Man. So, Wayne, obviously you are a big basketball guy. For those people that don't know, you do the NBA power rankings for the All Access Sports Network here. So, once the NBA season rolls back up here, me and Combs were kind of talking about this last night a little bit here. Does NBA start back up in 2 weeks?
No, they've been talking about doing a January, mid-January start to the new season, because you still have to get the draft, you have to get everybody acclimated with the summer league, although now it's going to be the winter league. And so eventually, though, they will start it off probably January, February start, and it'll probably run a little bit late, not as late as it did this year. It'll run because it'll be a shortened season, and then by, I think, 2021 to 22 season is when we'll be back on schedule again.
Are they going to go with less off days to try to get a full 82 games in and just give it? No. Sometimes you go about 5 days between games sometimes.
They're probably going to play a 60-game season.
Okay.
Honestly, I like the NBA starting in January. I don't like the competition with the NFL in October, November, December, to be totally honest.
You know what I like the idea for them to get 82 games in? What was my idea with baseball? Sunday doubleheaders, right?
That's not going to happen.
Can you imagine NBA doubleheaders?
No.
Why not? We do it in men's league at the Y. Why can't you do it in the NBA?
But no, yeah, they even in NBA circles, basketball circles, if you're a basketball fan, the classic saying is that the NBA season doesn't start until December 25th, anyways. Even though it actually starts at the end of October.
Yeah.
It's so. Let me tell you why, Brandon, that you can't have double hitters in the basketball, because we saw Jimmy Butler after playing 47 minutes, like I think he did in Game 5. He was completely exhausted. He had like crawl off the court because he was so tired, or I should say tired. But there is no way you were going to get.
So what you're telling me is that the guys at the Y are better athletes than the guys in the NBA?
I'm saying they probably just play offense and don't play defense.
Neither does the NBA.
Yeah, they're also not playing 48-minute games.
That's why LeBron James is so good. They don't play defense.
Actually, I would say this playoffs is probably some of the best defense I've seen in the NBA playoffs in the last couple of years, to be honest.
Yeah, particularly from the Boston Celtics. I mean, they just locked down everybody.
For what, 3 games?
For as long as they could. I mean, it's not the most talented team. They're just incredibly coached, and they just play really hard.
Right. So, guys, like I said, we do have a Michael Jordan versus LeBron James debate going to happen tonight. So we're going to take a quick little break to collect the thoughts. We're going to give... Who wants the floor first? Wayne, do you want the floor first since you are the guest on the show?
I'll take it, sure.
Go first.
Yeah, so Wayne. So when we get back, guys, we're going to take a quick little radio break here. We'll be right back. LeBron versus Michael Jackson.
Whoa.
Michael Jordan debate right here on the Man Hour After Dark, right here at this All Access Sports Network, guys. Be right back.
But it's rude and it's indecent, it's all hell syllables. Killaholic.
Kill 'em all.
This fliggity, gibbity, hibbity, hip hop. You don't really want to get into a piss and match with this rappity rat pack and a mac in the back of the yak, backpack, rap, yap, yap, yakety yak, at the exact same time I attempt these lyrical acrobat stunts while I'm practicing that. I'll still be able to break a motherfucking table over the back of a couple of faggots and crack it in half. Only realized it was ironic. I was under aftermath after the fact. How could I not?
And I will fade that out so I don't get a copyright strike like Wayne G did earlier tonight on the Infinity Sports Network, because I know the rules a little bit here, Wayne, but...
30 seconds of The Office and you get flagged.
Actually, it said it was from NBCU, so...
Yeah, because Office is an NBC show.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's back before my time, I guess, when I started watching Office when they were on NBC still. Did you just age yourself a little bit?
Hey, you know what? I think that Michael Jackson was definitely a better entertainer than LeBron James as well. So
he might be a better entertainer than anybody was.
All right, guys. So without further ado, we're giving Wayne G the floor. We're giving him the full screen here. Tell me why LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan.
All right, so unlike what Brandon's probably going to do, which is going to be try to diminish LeBron James and his achievements, I'm not going to knock Michael Jordan at all. I think he's a fantastic player, but what I want to do is talk about what makes LeBron James so great. And one of the things that makes him great, obviously, is he's been to 10 NBA Finals. Now, other than Bill Russell or Jerry West, there really haven't been a lot of guys that have been to that many. And he's been the star player at every one of those stops. Not only that, but he's won 4 championships, 3 championships with 3 different teams, 3 different supporting casts, 3 different head coaches. Michael Jordan has had the same team basically and the same coach his entire career. Now that's great, and he didn't have to move around like LeBron did, but at the same time, LeBron James doing that with so many different pieces and not having the consistency that Jordan had around him is that much more impressive. As far as rebounding, we know that LeBron's a better rebounder. He averages almost 7.5 rebounds for his career. We know he's a better passer. He passes like Steve Nash or Magic Johnson. He led the NBA in assists this year. He's not as good a defender as Michael Jordan, so I will say Michael Jordan's maybe the best on-the-ball defender I've ever seen, but he is a more versatile defender. And what I mean by that is he can guard all 5 positions. Jordan could only guard the 1 and the 2. LeBron can guard 1 through 5. So those things right there, along with the scoring, Jordan was a better scorer, but LeBron's a better facilitator. So all in all, it's a very close matchup, but I'm just looking at the fact that LeBron James at 6'8", 260, the speed, the athleticism, everything that Jordan had, plus the passing, the rebounding, and the versatile defense, and the fact that he did it all without having the same kind of supporting cast that Jordan had.
Wayne. LeBron had different supporting casts. But LeBron's supporting casts were all all-star teams. When he went to Miami, he had Bosh and Wade. When he went back to Cleveland and finally got over the hump, it was because he had Kyrie. When he went to L.A., he couldn't get over the hump until he got Anthony Davis. LeBron needs those supporting casts, just like Jordan needed Pippen, so I'll give you that. Jordan definitely needed the supporting cast. He couldn't get it done, but he couldn't get it done because when he was going to the lane, he was getting murdered by the bad boys of the Pistons. When LeBron goes to the lane, he flops 35 feet back to center court to get a foul call. So I hate the argument that, LeBron's been the 10. And LeBron has not had the competition in his conference that Jordan had back when he was playing. Okay? Jordan did 2 more rings, 2 more final MVPs, 1 more Defensive Player of the Year, 1 more season MVP, 9 more scoring titles, 3 more times he was a steals leader, 3 more all-defensive team selections, 3,000 more points. Yes, Bron moved past him in the playoffs, but it took him longer to do it. Okay? All these numbers, all these stats that LeBron is still chasing, Jordan did in 13 years. LeBron's on his 15th. LeBron's still chasing all these numbers, but he's still playing. There's a huge gap in between what LeBron did and what Jordan did. LeBron's great. LeBron might be the best athlete to ever step on the court. LeBron can play all 5 positions and play them at a top 5 level. That's not something that Michael Jordan could have done. Okay? So I give you that he's the best athlete to ever step on the court, but Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Michael Jordan is the best basketball player to ever step on the court. You can talk about 4 in 10. He's got 4 championships. It took him 10 times to get those 4 championships. You know how many times it took Michael Jordan to get his 6? Just the 6. And the only reason why he didn't have more is because he decided to go play baseball in the middle of his career.
Yeah, well, I would argue that one of the reasons that he had 6 for 6 is because the competition wasn't as good. I think that the Golden State team that beat LeBron 2 out of 3 tries is better than any team that Michael Jordan ever played against
Magic
or
Johnson's
on.
Lakers?
Yeah, I'm saying that the 73-9 Warriors team is the team that lost, but the other 2 teams with Kevin Durant, that team is better than any Bulls team or any team they beat. Those are the best. Those are the best teams of all time. And LeBron James, there's no way you could beat a team like that without a superstar. Now, you talked about Michael Jordan having Scottie Pippen, and that's when he started to win. He didn't even start to win when he had Scottie Pippen. It wasn't enough. He needed to have a big man because he lost that when he lost Charles Oakley. And you have to remember that when it was the Jordan-Oakley show, he got bounced out of the first round of the playoffs like 3 or 4 or 5 years straight. And then he couldn't get it past the Pistons. So he needed to have Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen. So I don't knock that on LeBron James. Yes, LeBron James can't do it with Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball as the supporting cast. He needs Anthony Davis. He needs KCP. He needs to have guys who can step up, guys like Kuzma. And so he gets that. He wins. When he goes to Cleveland, same thing. He's got Kyrie, who was, 20 and 62 before LeBron got there, and then 60 and 22 the first year that LeBron gets there. So LeBron makes the difference. You look at that Cleveland team that won, 66 games, and then LeBron went to Miami, and the very next year, that same 66-win team won 18. So I'm talking about a guy who makes franchises. He brings 40 to 50 wins anywhere he goes, and that's what makes him so great. He's basically the Peyton Manning of basketball. When you think about that Colts team that went from 14-2 to 1-15 or whatever it is in 1 year when they lost Peyton Manning.
Jordan's also the only player in NBA history to lead the league in scoring, win Most Valuable Player, and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. He's the only player in history to average at least 30 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals per game, and he did it 7 times. He's the only person to ever do it, and he did it 7 times. LeBron is a freak. LeBron is he's probably the best basketball player of this generation. But this generation could not play in that generation. They just couldn't. And I know that all these guys that sit there and they say, they definitely could have. They're better athletes than they are now. It's not true. It's not true. If LeBron plays back in the 90s, you know who LeBron James is? Sean Kemp.
I think if LeBron James plays back in the 90s, since we're playing the if game, I love playing that. If LeBron James plays back in the 90s, he averages 47 points, 22 rebounds, and 21 assists a game.
You're out of your mind.
Prove me wrong. You can't. And just like I can't prove you wrong about who's the more physical era, we can't prove eras. So all we can prove is what these guys have done in their own era. And LeBron James has dominated his era more than Michael Jordan dominated his era.
But you're wrong, though. LeBron has not played against any. When he was in the Eastern Conference, he had no competition. When Jordan was playing in the Eastern Conference, he had to get past Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning in the Hornets. He had when he won the title, he beat Magic Johnson's Lakers. He beat Charles Barkley in the Suns. He beat Sean Kemp and Gary Payton in the Sonics. Like, he beat legit competition. There's been only 10 times where LeBron has beaten a 50-plus win team in the playoffs. Jordan's teams did it 20 times. Double the number. So there was no competition. You can't say that the competition level is better now than it was back then because it's not accurate.
Well, I had this debate with somebody the other day. I said, a 9-7 NFC West team might be better than a 12-4 AFC West team. I'm just throwing up because you don't know. The record doesn't mean everything. Just because a team has 50 wins doesn't mean that they're better than a team that had 47. So I don't necessarily look at that. I mean, it's a great statistic to have on paper, but I don't really know if it means anything. What I do know is that LeBron James made it to the finals 10 times. I know that LeBron James, at 20 years old, with a second-best player named Boobie Gibson, made it to the NBA Finals at an age where Michael Jordan couldn't even beat a college team. So that's what I'm talking about, is starting off at the age of 20, getting to the finals and playing against teams like the Spurs, who you're talking about the Seattle Supersonics, they would lose 4-0 to the Spurs 10 series in a row. All right, he loses to the Spurs, he loses to the Golden State Warriors, the best team in history. So it's those losses don't really hold weight against him. What's that?
The Toronto Raptors?
Did he lose to the Toronto Raptors? I don't think he did.
Look, you can't tell me that. Who the hell did Toronto play? The Lakers weren't in the finals last year? That's how little I've watched basketball over the last 5 freaking years because it's so boring. They don't play defense. All they do is freaking drive to the hole. And the fact that they don't play defense drives me nuts. And the fact that they don't play defense and that LeBron still has not reached the eclipse that Jordan and Wilt both did of 3,000 points in a season, that boggles my mind too. LeBron should be ashamed of himself with the talent that he has and the size that he has, that he is not the leading scorer every year and that he does not come down with the championship every year.
That's not his job.
It's plain and simple. What do you mean it's not his job to score? It's not his job to win championships?
It's not his job to be the NBA's league-leading scorer. That's the job of a guy who plays on a team that has nobody else. LeBron surrounds himself with talent. I say surrounds himself because we know that he hand-chooses the guys that play with him. So he surrounds himself with talent so that he can be the distributor.
So Jordan was never surrounded by talent, by guys who could score?
Not the same way that LeBron's are. I mean, I'd say
definitely not the way that because Jordan only had one time in the NBA playoffs where he had another teammate that averaged double-digit points. One time, right. And that was Scottie Pippen.
And he never averaged 10 assists in the series like LeBron James has, because LeBron James distributes to those guys so they can score 20 points. Jordan wouldn't let his teammates do that. So it's a different role for a different player. LeBron James can drop 60 if he has to, because he's done it, but he would rather get 18 assists. He's kind of like Rajon Rondo, but with more of like a Kevin Durant scoring ability.
So if you had one game to save your life, and you could either have LeBron James leading your team or Michael Jordan leading your team, who are you taking?
Well, are we saying this is like the first pick in a draft, and I also get to pick all the teammates for those two guys?
No. You get to pick one guy to lead your team to win.
Who's my team? Who's the supporting cast? Because those two guys are different players. If we're picking the same kind of player, then that's fine. But we're picking two different types of players.
Me, Soley, Buckheister, and Peasy are your teammates. And we're the guys that those guys have to lead to save your life.
I just want to chime in here, and if we ever have Peasy playing basketball, I will walk off the court. I'm just throwing it out there. Sorry, my bad.
I'm just saying, which one of those guys are you choosing to lead your team?
So you're basically saying it's gonna be LeBron James versus Michael Jordan 1-on-1, and then a bunch of rec guys as their supporting cast.
Correct.
I choose LeBron James.
You're okay. No,
he's gonna dominate Jordan in the post, and he's gonna hit me wide open for three, and we all know I can knock down the three. So we're good.
Me and Mike are going to we'll attend your funeral. We'll attend your funeral. I mean, I just don't understand where you come out and you say, well, LeBron surrounds himself with talent, but that's also the argument against Jordan, is that he couldn't win until he surrounded himself with talent, which is true. You can't win without surrounding yourself with talent, especially nowadays when you got teams like the Golden State Warriors, who just, could score 175 points a game if they wanted to when they're on from 3-point range. But it's a different game. It's a different era. So I give the point that LeBron is the best athlete to ever step on the court for sure, but he is not the best basketball player to ever step on the court. That is, it's Jordan, Kobe, and Wilt, and then maybe you can argue LeBron for fourth.
See,
Well,
I would say Kobe might not even be in the top 5, and LeBron I have, right in the top 3. So
Kobe was better than LeBron.
and I think Pippen is better than Kobe in the end. So, but that's a story for a different day.
Get out of here.
So
Hey, take yourself back off screen. It was a better conversation. So you came out here with that gibberish.
I just got a couple questions to ask ask here. I mean, you guys were comparing stats and teammates and that kind of thing, but I think to ultimately judge the GOAT is you have to take that same player and then put them on the other team. The same exact teams that they've won championships with or maybe not even win championships, but lose or not even make it to the playoffs. Does that other player get that team to the playoffs
if
or
Jordan
to the championship?
played on the Miami Heat team with Wade and Bosch, that team would have won 82-0.
What about the Cleveland
Because he would have
Cavaliers
never let
before
them
he went to Miami?
take a night off. Before he went to Miami, no, you know what? Because I think that those teams, I think he would have got them to the same point because of how diminished the talent was in the Eastern Conference. So I think he would have got them to the finals, and then they would have lost to the Spurs, and that just the same way. But I think that the difference between Jordan is that he never took nights off, and he wouldn't let his teammates take nights off. The guy wanted to win night in and night out. He wanted to go 82-0 every year. He wanted to sweep through the playoffs every year. And that's the one knock I have on LeBron is that he loves to take nights off. You've never seen Jordan disappear in a playoff series the way LeBron disappeared in 2011 against the Mavericks. Ever. Not once.
all right, so take it easy, Donald Trump. I'm about to. Can I talk now? So I'm going to answer Michael's question here, which is basically that
China.
I think both of them would do worse if you switch their teams. And I'll tell you why is because that their teammates were built around what they did best. Jordan was not a distributor. He could not play the LeBron role. LeBron was not a primary scorer. He couldn't play the Jordan role. Jordan was surrounded by guys who could support him defensively and could score a basket if he needed them to, but he was the primary scorer. LeBron is surrounded by guys who can average 20 points per game so that he can dish the ball, and he can score if he needs to, like Jordan's supporting cast was. So it's kind of a different role. If you put LeBron with Pippen and Rodman, I don't think they do as well. And if you put Jordan with Kyrie and Kevin Love, I don't think the Cavs do as well. It's just
Jordan would pass the ball though. Jordan, I mean, how many? He had an NBA championship because he passed the ball off to Steve Kerr. He had another NBA championship because he passed the ball off to Tony Kukoc. LeBron would dish the ball, or Jordan would dish the ball in big moments. It's not like he would never pass the ball. He did allow his other teammates to score. He was just better at it.
Well, you're basing his passing ability on 2 assists that he had in his career. LeBron James has been...
Those are the only 2 assists I ever saw.
Every year. So LeBron James might be the best passer I've ever seen in terms of hit those cross-court corner passes when he's at the top of the... I mean, they're ridiculous passes that he makes, and he always seems to find the open guy. But Pippen and Rodman and Horace Grant and all those guys, they weren't good enough scorers for him to distribute the way that he needs to. So you would have basically forced him to be a primary scorer, and that's just not what he does. He'd be out of his element, just like Jordan would be out of his element trying to average 11 assists a game.
So you don't think that? So what you're saying is that you don't think LeBron could be a guy who just takes the night of the role of 50 points a game type of guy?
Once in a while, but no, not as doing that every night.
Okay.
So my next question is Combs, you keep bringing up the argument that LeBron James takes night offs, right? And so do you think
sometimes.
What's that?
It was series sometime. I mean, the way he disappeared in that 2011 series versus the Mavericks was.
Okay.
I mean, to me, that's when LeBron lost me as ever being in the conversation with Jordan or Kobe or Wilt. That's just when he lost me. Those guys would have never done that. Those guys would have not disappeared. They wouldn't have shriveled up and gone away. That was the one title with that LeBron really should have had and should have, but he didn't show up. He looked like he didn't want to be there the entire series.
So what I'm going to ask you is, do you think LeBron James he made 8 straight Eastern Conference or 8 straight NBA Finals if he wouldn't have taken nights off to heal his body and stuff? Would he have ever made that? I mean, was he playing smarter in the end because you're playing for the end goal? And Jordan, we saw he quit 2 times in his career because whether his body couldn't handle it, mentally exhausted or whatever.
I'm not a big believer in the I'd rather get there 10 times and only win 4. I'd rather get there 6 times and win all 6. I'd rather win every time that I get there. And LeBron's not that guy. LeBron's never been the guy that really cares about winning championships. He wanted the one. He definitely wanted the one in Cleveland for sure. That's his hometown. He promised one there. He wanted one there for sure. He wanted the first one that he got with the Heat for sure because he wanted to get off that snide. But LeBron is more about LeBron. He's more about doing right by his friend. LeBron's the best human being, and that's where LeBron's better than Jordan is off the court. LeBron's the best human being I've ever witnessed as an athlete. The guy, the things that he does off the court and that type of stuff, no comparison to any athlete I've ever seen in my lifetime. But on the court, he's got a great talent, and he's used it to benefit his family and to take care of his family. But for LeBron James, it's his 9 to 5. It's not his blood, sweat, and tears like it was for a Jordan, a Kobe, a Wilt, those type of guys.
Well, that's fair, and I think that the last thing I guess I'll say in terms of LeBron, I mean, you mentioned him taking nights off in that 2011 series when he averaged more minutes than any other player on the basketball court for the entire series because he played 44 minutes a game, pouring it out there, and just couldn't do it. He couldn't close it out. He had his teammates trying. They didn't play as many minutes as him because they didn't want it as bad as he did. Nobody on the Mavericks team wanted it as bad as he did. Yeah. I'd say that LeBron James always wants to win as bad as anybody. The question is, can he get his teammates to want it as bad as him? And I don't know if he can, and I don't know if Jordan could either. I just think that at the end of the day, Jordan definitely was a killer, and he would go out there and he would do whatever he had to do to score that winning basket. LeBron is more of a cerebral player where he's going to go out there and do whatever he can to try to get the basket for the team, and sometimes that means passing up the shot. And I think that people look at that as being soft or not being a killer. It's not. He's trying to kill you a different way. Doesn't mean he's not a killer. He just needs some assistant killers.
I got you.
Yeah,
and he said he was not going to win not 3, not 4, not 5, Buck. I see the comment on here. That wasn't LeBron that said that, was it? I believe that was Dwayne Wade, wasn't it? Who came out with the not 1...
that was LeBron.
Yeah, that was LeBron.
Okay.
Yeah. It was him, Bosch, and Wade were all sitting up on the stage when they all got introduced, and he's like, I'm going to bring a championship to I'm going to bring 2, not 3, not 4, not so. I think he got up with like 8 or 9 of them.
I thought
something
it was
like
for some reason.
Yeah, Bosch was trying to put his hands down.
Yeah.
Right. Stop counting. We're not going to win that many. So like one of the biggest knocks against Jordan is he quote quit twice, right? In his career, like after the first three-peat, he retired to go play baseball, which wasn't a bad journey because he wasn't a horrible player by any means. Yeah, and then he came back.
He was atrocious. That's why he never made the major league squad.
Actually, wasn't he batting like 250 or 300 during his major league career?
No, he didn't play in the major leagues. And he batted 200 his one minor league career. He was hitting 375 in the summer league with the Scottsdale Scorpions, but that's when he decided to switch back to baseball.
Yes.
Basketball.
Yeah. So he won 3, took 2 years off, right, and then won 3 more, and then took some more years off. Was it a year or 2, and then he came back and just sucked against the. He didn't suck. The Wizards were not very, very good.
And Jared Parrott, you clown show. I saw your little comment about did he take time off to go play baseball, or was it because he was gambling? Who cares? Whether it was because he was gambling or so what? The guy had a gambling problem. Everybody knows it. What do you care? I don't care that Barry Bonds juiced. I don't care that Pete Rose was gambling. So what? If the guy was gambling, he was gambling. Who cares? He still took 2 years off and went and played, and then came back from being off for 2 years and went 72-10.
So my question is if LeBron James would have done the same thing, would he even be in the conversation right now, Wayne?
I mean, take 2 years off to play a different sport, or just take 2 years off in general and then come back and start playing again.
Right.
It's a good question. I don't know. I think with Jordan,
his sport would have been different. I think he would have played football.
Probably, but either way, I think Jordan in '93 was just sick of basketball. He'd had enough of it. And I think that those 2 years off really helped rejuvenate his love for the game, and he was able to come back for those 3 seasons and play the game that he loved, the way that he loved to play it. And by the end of that second three-peat, he was done again. I mean, we saw the Last Dance, he was just done. LeBron James hasn't gotten sick of basketball yet. So if you want to make the argument that LeBron James loves basketball more than Jordan because over this course of his career, which is longer than Jordan's, he hasn't gotten sick of it yet, I guess you can make that case.
LeBron didn't have to deal with his father being murdered at the time, though, either.
So but he was already tired before that. There were talks with Phil before his dad was killed that he wasn't going to play anymore. That him and his dad were talking about him going to play baseball. That was a joint thing they talked about. He was just done playing. And I think that LeBron hasn't run into that situation where he's been sick of playing basketball yet. And I don't necessarily think that makes him better or worse because he hasn't gotten sick of it and Jordan did get sick of it. But that's what I would say. Was
Jordan sick of it, or was he sick of dealing with guys like Reinsdorf who's shopping around his coach after winning championship after championship after championship?
Well, he came back and played for Reinsdorf and the same coach that hadn't gotten canned.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wonder if that's why he was getting tired of it, though. He was just tired of all the stuff that was going on. Then his dad gets murdered, and that was just kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back.
So I guess a follow-up question is, because, I think the biggest explanation point on LeBron James's, his span over the NBA life is that he did make it to 8 or 9 straight NBA finals. And if he were to take those 2 years off, he wouldn't have made all those straight finals. If he did not make those straight finals, would he even be in the conversation of the GOAT talk?
No, I think that's part of what is the talk, is that the 10 finals. So if you make it 8, then it's a little bit tougher. Unless he wins 4 of 8, then we're still talking about 4 championships. And who knows? Like I said, maybe he leaves and he comes back, and if, like Jordan, he's reinvigorated. Maybe he makes it to 5 more in a row, and he wins all 5 of them. I mean, we don't know. Right. So I try not to play the what-if game in terms of the dates, which Brandon found out by mentioning the Sean Kemp thing. So I try to stay away from the if scenarios.
Combs, any thought about that?
No, I mean, I smacked him down enough. I don't need to smack him down anymore.
So there's another comment from your boy Jared. I don't care.
I should have just put the question mark. Oh, do you think he left for 2 years because they found out about the game? I don't. I think he left for 2 years because, like Wayne said, he was tired of the game and his father had just gotten murdered. And I think that had a big toll on. I mean, him and his dad were really, really close. And I think that at that moment when his dad died, and his dad used to tell him all the time that he wished he would have stuck with baseball. His dad wanted him to play baseball as he was growing up. His dad bred him to be a baseball player, which is why Jordan didn't really make his high school basketball team, was because he was just getting really started playing basketball. So I don't think that he left because of the gambling. Everybody knew he had a problem, but when you have it's just like right now with Mike Trout. Not a lot of people know, but Mike Trout has a thyroid condition, and he's got a pass to use HGH. And there's about 4 players in the league that have that pass because they have certain conditions that are allowed to use HGH. So, but because he's so great, and because he puts up the numbers, and because he draws fans in, they keep it hush-hush.
Very, very true. So before we take a quick little break here and transition over to NFL football and Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, who is the best rookie quarterback this year in the 2020 season, Wayne, who is your top 5 players of all time in the NBA?
Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kobe Bryant.
Brandon.
For me, it's Jordan, Wilt, Kobe. Man, I'm a big fan of Oscar Robinson. A lot of people don't talk about him being in a top 5 or being on Mount Rushmore. For me, Kareem's in there.
Probably because the last name is Robertson.
Robertson, yeah, sorry. But
this guy technically sound.
But yeah, I have LeBron sitting on the outside just because. Look, I don't know. I think I don't know if it's so much because people like to compare him to Jordan so much that I lose all sight of everything that he's accomplished. Because LeBron James, again, I mean, he's a phenomenal talent, probably the most gifted athlete to ever step on the court. But I just think that those guys were just different breeds, especially when you can go Jordan, Wilt, Kobe, and then the rest, if you ask me.
Well, I think that's because, like you'd mentioned previously on other shows and whatnot, is that you stopped watching basketball right around the Derrick Rose injury, and you just started watching it again this year. So you basically missed LeBron James' entire domination of the era.
No, I mean I've paid attention, and I do pay attention to basketball. I don't watch it on a night in night out basis. I've been a playoff guru for the last 10 years, and you just lose it's not the same feel. It's not the same for those guys who grew up with it in the 80s and 90s like I did. I mean, Wayne, you're about the same age as me, so I'm actually surprised that maybe it's just because you love basketball the way I love baseball. For me, baseball will never get old, and it probably never loses luster like basketball will never lose it for you. But for the guys who just kind of like it and will watch all the time, and then the way that it's watered down now, it's just, I don't know. I'm a playoff guy.
Yeah, and like you guys named your top 5 guys. You guys named a couple older guys. One name I did not hear at all, me being an Indiana guy now, I hear Larry Bird's name floating around all the time over here in southern Indiana. How is Larry Bird not a top 5 player of all time?
It was top 10. I mean,
really?
Top 15. He's top 10. The reason he's not in the top 5 is because the other 5 guys ahead of him. I mean, it's nothing against Larry Bird. I mean, the guy's got a career average of like 27 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists for his career, which is insane. Or no, 11.5 rebounds, 7 assists or something like that. So he deserves to be in the conversation of, best players of all time. But yeah, he's definitely top 10. Definitely not top 5, though, because you can't put him ahead of Wilt, who completely dominated more than anyone ever will dominate maybe any sport ever besides Wayne Gretzky. You can't put him ahead of Jordan, again, with the 6 championships and the 11 scoring titles and 11-time all-defense. You can't put him ahead of LeBron, who's been to 10 finals. You can't put him ahead of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who's got 6 MVPs. And you can't put him ahead of Kobe Bryant, who basically just carried those last 2 championships out of his 5. So he only had 3 championships. You have to remember, he lost to Magic, or Magic won 5, Bird won 3. So really, even in a hierarchy, Magic's ahead of Bird. So Bird probably doesn't get there until about 7 or 8 on the list, but he's definitely top 10.
And Brandon says top 15.
That's why I have Kobe ahead of LeBron for me, is because, like you said, the way he carried those last 2 championships, he did those with a talent way less than LeBron has ever had to win a championship. So for me, and plus Kobe, to me, Kobe is just closer to the player on the court to Jordan than LeBron is.
More similar, for sure.
Yeah.
All right,
I wouldn't take Brandon too seriously because he also has Oscar Robinson on his top 5.
Oh my God, get out of here.
All right, guys, let's go and take a quick little break. After the break, we are going to transition gears, switch over to the NFL, talk a little bit of rookie quarterback sensations here. We'll be right back here on the Man Hour After Dark. And welcome back to the Man Hour After Dark, guys. Michael Buckheiser with Brandon Combs. Oh, I pushed the wrong button there, Brandon. My fault, man. I didn't mean to remove you. I wanted to split screen that. That's my bad. So that was a great debate with Wayne G. He is going to join us back here to talk a little bit of Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert here on the NFL side of things. But before we bring Wayne back on to the show, who do you think won that debate?
That was all me.
It was all you, and I believe Wayne is going to say it is all him. So, guys, in the comments below, tell us who won the debate, LeBron versus Michael Jordan here. Do a hashtag Wayne G or a hashtag BC there, and we will tally those up by the end of the night to tell you who actually won. So, am I still playing Baby Shark? There you go. My bad. Obviously, I have a 2-year-old son that loves Baby Shark, so that was the next song that came up on my whole Spotify. And process of elimination, I guess here. But the NFL season is well underway, guys, and we're seeing 2, I would say, rookie sensations, kind of taking the league by storm. Justin Herbert went toe-to-toe with Drew Brees last Monday night. Yes, he ultimately lost a game, but if it wasn't for a kicker, we'd be having a totally different conversation right now. And obviously, Joe Burrow has 3 of his 5 games was over 300 yards passing. We ran into a stungy Baltimore Ravens defense, obviously. But Wayne G, I'm going to come to you.
That game did.
What's that?
The game cost. I had a 6-team parlay, player parlay where I had 6 guys to score a touchdown. Joe Mixon was the only one of those 6 that did not get in the end zone. I would put $100 down. It was a plus 10,000. Yeah.
Only if, right? Only if.
Oh my God.
We would not be seeing Brandon on the show tonight. That's for sure. He would still be out partying up. Still be popping bottles and playing Fortnite with his his kids. But Wayne, since you are the guest on tonight's Man Hour from Infinity Sports, guys, head over to Infinity Sports Facebook page and check them out. Definitely like that page and go to the YouTube page as well. Are these the best 2 rookie quarterbacks ever to set foot in the NFL? Like as a pair. I'm not talking about individual. I'm talking about as a class by themselves. Is this the best rookie quarterback class so far?
No, and actually, when you mentioned this topic, I actually did a quick, research, and there's actually 3 classes that I think are a little bit better than this one in terms of players. One of them has to go back to the Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers. Those 3 guys put up some insane stats as rookies. Eli Manning, I think, threw a ton of interceptions. No, Peyton did his rookie year, but those 3 guys, played fantastic their rookie year. Another one, Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson. You have to remember Russell Wilson. Won the starting job. They had actually signed, I think, Matt Hasselbeck to be the starting quarterback, and then Russell Wilson ended up taking the title there. And then the last one is obviously Marino and Elway. They get to play Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, as good as they are, as good as Marino and Elway. It's not even close. Those are 2 top 5 quarterbacks of all time. So both these guys are really great. They're really talented. I think. Herbert's going to have a little bit easier time because of that Swiss cheese offensive line in Cincinnati. I think that Joe Burrow leads the NFL in being sacked. So hopefully he doesn't turn into David Carr. So another guy great.
That guy gets hit, and he gets hit hard. When Joe Burrow takes a hit, I cringe. I haven't seen a guy get hit so hard so many times this soon into a season. He takes some monster hits.
Yeah. Like I said, hopefully he doesn't turn into David Carr, who was a guy who had great talent, great arm talent, but had no offensive line, and it just ruined his career.
Yeah. So Wayne, just to add to your point here, I pulled up Dan Marino's stats. His rookie year, he threw for right around 2,000 yards. What was the completion percentage? About 58% here. Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, just through the first 5 weeks of the season, has Cincinnati played 5 games? They both played 5 games, right? And both of them are over 1,000 yards, so they're on pace for a 3,000 to 4,000 yard season here, if my math is correct. And both of their passing percentages are damn near 70%.
It's a much more pass-heavy league now than it was back then, though. Too.
True, but you're still looking at passing percentages, and Justin Herbert is at 68.8%, and Joe Burrow is at 65.2%. Dan Marino on the season was 58.4%.
Yeah.
How is that going to translate for the next, 12 weeks or whatever it is? I don't know, but right now they are on pace to be better than Elway. Better than Marino.
Well, I would also point out, though, that Marino and Elway weren't playing in empty stadiums, and that has a lot to do with completion percentage as well.
That is true. That's
and everything like that. So I think that you're going to see a lot of quarterbacks with 65 to 70% completion this year who are normally in that 59 to 65 range.
So are you saying this season we have to put an asterisk by it?
No, I don't believe in asterisk. I think get asterisk the hell out of here. I don't believe in asterisk.
So, Combs, you've been kind of quiet over there. Is this the best rookie deal?
I'm trying to remember. Did Mahomes and Watson both play the rookie year?
So Mahomes was a backup to Alex Smith. He did play week 17.
Gotcha.
And Watson, think he come in his second part of his rookie year. Same with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, when he came in that second part of the rookie of the year, he lit it up.
Same with Lamar. So
I don't know. I'd really have to. I have to look at it. I looked at it briefly after you said that we were going to be talking about it. I started looking up different draft classes and stuff like that. I didn't look up what they did the rookie year. It might be, but again, it's a very different league than it was back then. In Marino's day, I can tell you right now, his rookie year, Marino didn't have an AJ Green to throw the ball to. He didn't have a Mike Evans to throw the ball to. These guys have much better wide receivers now than they had back then, and everything was built on defense back then too. You have to remember, I mean, a lot of teams built around their defenses back then. There were a lot of really good defenses when Marino came out and came into the league. So
plus back then, pass interference was only if you tackled a guy while he was getting thrown the ball. Nowadays, you can't even touch a guy wherever he is.
And the quarterbacks are getting popped in the mouth.
What was Marino's rookie year?
83.
There you go.
Yeah, so I mean, I believe it was 85. The Bears with that 85 Bears defense, their only loss that year was to Marino and the Dolphins. So I mean, I can't say it's the best quarterback rookie duo ever, but man, they're pretty damn good right now. I love watching Joe Burrow play. I do cringe every time he gets hit though. I really do. And Justin Herbert's the real deal. I'm telling you right now, I'd rather have Justin Herbert going forward than Joe Burrow.
Oh, that's insane.
Why? I mean, Justin Herbert's already in his short career, he's already played and almost beat Pat Mahomes. He's played with and almost beat Drew Brees, and he's played with and almost beat Tom Brady. So,
you know what I love about you is you truly are a prisoner of the moment. You have to remember that Ryan Leaf started off his career 4-0, and Peyton Manning started his 1-3, and everyone's like, "Wow, I guess the Colts should have taken Ryan Leaf," because they were looking at a 4-game sample. What ended up happening? Justin Herbert's great. He's 6'6". He's mobile. He's got a good arm. All right, but look at what he did in college, and you look at. Right, you just look at his style of play, though, and how it's going to transition once teams get more tape on him. Both of these guys are rookies. Herbert's got a little bit more protection and a little bit better receiving core, and so I think that you're going to see over time, Joe Burrow has so much more talent in terms of being a pocket passer. I wouldn't be surprised if Justin Herbert has a 7-year career and gets banged around because he runs a little bit more, and Joe Burrow has a Hall of Fame career.
But see, I'm not a prisoner of the moment, though. What I've done so far in these 4 games is I've watched what Justin Herbert does when the pressure is on, and what he did the other night coming back with the Saints, against the Saints, I should say, and some of the passes that he's thrown, that pass that he threw to Mike Evans at the end of the game to get them into field goal range,
was a prayer shot. Let's be totally honest.
No, that was a perfectly placed pass. There were 2 defenders on him, and the only person that had a shot at catching that was Mike Evans, and he let Mike Evans go up and get it.
Williams?
That was not a prayer.
Mike Williams? Mike
Williams. Yeah, Mike Williams. Sorry.
Him and Oscar Robinson.
Him and Oscar Robinson playing on the same damn team. Anyway, geez, I'm bad with names. I tell you people all the time, you guys don't watch Triple Shot Sports? I can't tell you how many times I forget names. But I feel like, I don't know. Like, I feel like at this point in time, I would go forward with Herbert over Burrows. But I don't think you go wrong either way. And time will tell whether or not I'm right. I mean, you could go either way. This could be a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning situation.
You are correct, Brandon, in the aspect of that. I think the Chargers are a better team than Cincinnati Bengals is. And if you would put Joe Burrow on the Chargers, he would be having even more success as what he is having now. You are kind of judging success off of wins.
He hasn't won, though. That's the thing. I'm not judging it off a win.
You just said that he went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, toe-to-toe with Drew Brees.
Yeah, he went toe-to-toe with them. He didn't beat them. He just went toe-to-toe with them. But he did the same thing that these great quarterbacks were doing, and the way that he played with them and the way that he came through in crunch time, that drive at the end of the game that ultimately the kicker cost them the game.
That was a good drive,
I mean,
yes.
That's what you see from a Russell Wilson. That's what you see from a Drew Brees. That's what you see from a Tom Brady. That's not what you see from a rookie quarterback. And so that's what I'm judging how he's playing against teams like this. What he did to that Kansas City defense, I mean, it was, I don't know. I really like this kid. I like the way he's playing. I think right now, moving forward, if I had to redraft, I think I would take Justin Herbert ahead of Joe Burrow. That's just me, though. I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm 100% on that. It's probably, like I said, it could be a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning situation.
I think you are wrong, and I'm 100% on that.
100%. So you are referring to Justin Herbert's last drive versus Drew Brees. Let's flashback to Week 1. Joe Burrow drove the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, the horrible Cincinnati Bengals that were 3-13 last year. Drove them down the field. threw the game-winning touchdown, but it got called back up for I believe it was offensive holding is what they called. Yep. So which ultimately cost him that game. And then the next week he battled his team into a tie versus Carson Wentz. Many people think Carson Wentz is a top-tier quarterback, top 5, top 10 type of situation.
Not the way he's playing this year. He's not.
Well, but in his overall career, they're saying he's a top 10, top 5 quarterback. Me, no, I do not. I think he's highly overrated, and Nick Foles should have stayed in Philly, but that's a story for a different day. But so you are seeing the same exact results from Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert at the same time, just at different aspects. The only reason why Justin Herbert did so well his first game was the Kansas City Chiefs were not prepared to face a quarterback like him. When you get the call 10 minutes before kickoff because your starting quarterback got a punctured lung from a shot, I mean it's kind of a big shot in the system. But to complete this full circle here, I've been looking back at past NFL drafts for quarterbacks, and that 2001 quarterback class, Michael Vick and Drew Brees, that was a pretty good class too, right? I mean,
yeah. Drew Brees, did he play his rookie year though?
He did. Drew Brees played about halfway through his rookie year because Doug Flutie was the starter and Drew Brees came in and relieved him. Mm-hmm. But Michael Vick did not play his rookie year. He only took, I think, 2 snaps his rookie year.
Oh, I thought he played. That's my fault. So I was thinking overall career. So let's complete this full circle here. Overall career. What do you think these two guys land in overall career as far as quarterback class goes?
Man, that's
hard to tell. It's early to tell. I'm going to say this. I think Joe Burrow is going to finish his career as one of the all-time greats. I really do think he has all the talent in the world, and I love the way he spins the football.
You and LeBron get along.
Yeah, I think that as long as he doesn't take too many hits, that's the big thing. If he gets pummeled every single season and they don't put an offensive line in front of him, he's going to have a 5-year career or a 6-year career. But if they can surround him with the right pieces, Joe Burrow is a legit Hall of Famer. Now, I think, could Justin Herbert be that? I think possibly, but I haven't seen enough from him in the short time. To me, he looks like somebody who just teams haven't game planned for because he's still too new. Let's see how he looks in week 14 and 15.
Brandon.
Look, I think that when you look at these two in the future, right now the future is bright. Joe Burrows could be in the same boat that Justin Herbert said. It could just be teams haven't seen him, teams haven't game planned him. There was no preseason, there was none of that. So maybe let's see what's going on week 14, week 15, week 16. And he's absolutely right. I mean, Cincinnati has to put an offensive line in front of Joe Burrows because they're going to get that kid killed. But man, I really feel like it's going to be Justin Herbert and Joe Burrows for the next 10 to 15 years. I really do. I think they're both that damn good.
Well, so Trevor Lawrence comes in, then he's going to be Trevor Lawrence
is Ryan Leaf.
Yeah,
no way.
Yeah. That's going to be a debate for a different day because I am on with Brandon Combs 100% there. I see it more and more. The more I hear Trevor Lawrence talk and see him play, he does not handle failure well at all.
He is a very college quarterback, and he's going to be just like Ryan Leaf was, and and especially if he ends up going to a system that
Jets.
I mean just isn't good. The Jets,
Jets, Giants, Redskins. Whatever.
I mean,
Washington football team.
Any of those. I mean, I know. Remember, we had Eli Manning who said, "Hey, if the Chargers draft me, I'm not playing for you." I think that if I'm
Trevor Lawrence.
If I'm Trevor Lawrence, I'm saying, look, if the Jets, Giants, Washington, or any of these other teams, I'm not playing because Washington. I think Washington would be the best fit for him. I think they probably are the closest to ready to go, and I think that
quarterback away over there.
I think that they have the head coach that could probably make him all right. I think that Trevor Lawrence is a bust in the NFL.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. But I mean, obviously, he's got to get drafted to the NFL first and see where he stands and see how big of a draft bust he will be. So Wayne, Brandon and I talked about this last night, and we were kind of talking about the rookie wall like a tad bit, and he brought it up. He brought it up again, and it kind of triggered my memory here, and the fact that there was no OTAs, no preseason, no no grind of the offseason for these rookie quarterbacks. So they're still fresh, they're still hyper, they're still young and energetic. Do you think that's maybe one of the reasons why they're having such a outstanding start and they're going to taper off come week 13, 14?
They may taper off, and when I think of a rookie wall in the NFL, it's a lot different than the rookie wall in the NBA. In the NBA, it's because you just went from playing 28 games to playing 82 games, and you're just exhausted. You're not used to it. In the NFL, it's because teams have figured you out. When you first start playing, they've never seen you before. Even your college tape doesn't tell them the truth. So they have to see you play 4, 5, 6, 7 games before they really understand what it is you do, what you look for, what you misread, and what you do read. And so that's why you see them hit that wall. So that's why I think, regardless of OTAs and all that, it has nothing to do with these players being fresh. Come week 7, 8 is when we're going to find out teams have enough film on them to figure them out. And if these guys still keep performing after that, then they're legit.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, guys, that's going to be it for tonight. Wayne, before we head out, tell the people where they can find you out and all that good stuff.
Yeah, check us out on Infinity Sports. We have Infinity Sports at Infinity Sports Podcast on Facebook, at Infinity Sports Podcast on Instagram, at Sports Infinity 5 on Twitter, where we have a YouTube channel with all of our shows on there. You can catch us every Monday and Wednesday night at 7 p.m. I'm working right now to get Charlie Ward on the show. That's going to be a really good interview. I'll let everybody know when that happens. So it's a really, really great show. Me and Sully are wildly entertaining. And like I said, we just put on a good show every night. So hopefully you guys check it out and comment, and love to see you there.
All right, Wayne, thanks for joining us tonight, guys. From myself and Brandon, guys, thank you for joining the Man Hour. Join us next week as we are taking tomorrow off because I'm going trick-or-treating. I am dressing up as Big Bird. I'm pretty excited about it. So we'll see you guys next week. Man Hour, After Hours. Check us out, Mike and Mike, manhour.com. Pick us up some merch as well. See you next time, guys.
Later, Big Bird.
Jealous.